After 3 days without a zombie takeout episode, they're back. What's up? Welcome to episode 290 of Zombie Takeout.
Zombie Takeout.
The B-Movie and Cult Movie Podcast. I'm Uncle John.
And I'm Scotto.
And without any further ado, on to this week's movie, which is from, about 3.5 hours ago. Sharknado, The Fourth Awakens. Of course, that brings us to the impromptu plot summary. Sponsored by the pelvic thrust. Did you know that the same pelvic thrust that's been driving you insane for decades can now help protect you in the event of a Sharknado? Of course, it helps if you're a trained Chippendales dancer, but don't let that stop you from trying. It just might save your life. The pelvic thrust. Try one at your next Sharknado.
You realize I was doing the motion as
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm picturing you standing on the desk like Krim.
Yes, exactly. And also brought to you by Cawker City, home of the world's largest ball of twine.
And boulders and sharks.
Yeah, they had a lot of stuff there.
Hmm.
Some great street musicians, too.
Yeah.
All right, so, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
it's a Sharknado movie.
Right.
This is going to be an intense plot summary. Actually, it's kind of scaled back, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
We begin with these. We have the actual Star Wars screen crawl, and there has not been a Sharknado in 5 years because of this billionaire who came up with this plan to stop Sharknadoes. And for some reason, he felt the need to open up a casino in Vegas with sharks in it.
What could possibly go wrong?
Just tempting fate, begging fate to come along and to create a desert tornado, and which of course his system did not anticipate.
Also known as a sandstorm. They kept calling it a tornado.
Yes,
Seemed
yes,
odd.
a sandnado.
Mm-hmm.
And this Sandnado, of course, came to Vegas, came to his casino, picked up all the sharks, and then, of course...
It was a Sandnado, and then a sand and Sharknado, and then...
Well, right, this is the one that goes all the way through the middle of the country, that becomes all sorts of different nados along the way.
One of the titles I was thinking about, but I ultimately decided to cut, was This One Goes to 11.
But, of course, Finn is in Vegas, where the Sharknado occurs, and they have some hijinks on, up on the tower. The most absurd part probably being where they're like, get in the car, because the car gets picked up, tossed onto the tower, and they get into the car.
And we also meet the Chuck of the cousin Chuck, was it, from Happy Days? Of the Sharknado series.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
Gemini. Cousin Chuck, for those who don't know the reference, was a character on, was it Happy Days or Brady Bunch?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was Happy Days. Yeah, he showed up for like a season or two, came from nowhere, suddenly disappeared.
Is it that guy from Married with Children that also did like Happy Days and everything? He was...
No, it wasn't Ted McGinley. It was earlier than that. Anyway, this character Gemini, who apparently is Finn's cousin, just shows up out of nowhere. We've never heard of her before. She's very Nova-like. Coincidentally, Cassie Skirbo, who plays Nova, wasn't in the movie.
Oh yeah, I had a problem because mine, I didn't watch live.
Oh, okay.
I kind of watched on a delay, and my recording for some reason did not pad. So as soon as like the Eiffel Tower crashed, spoiler alert in the end,
we were going to spoil that anyway.
And they said, do you really need to know what happens in a Sharknado movie?
Yeah.
You're like, gee, I wonder what goes on here. When they say that last line after it crashes, my recording just cut off. So it
went straight to the credits after that. That was the end of the movie.
That's what I thought, but there was nothing with the credits or
Well, there were credits, but that was it.
Yeah, but they didn't mess with the credits or have an end
No,
scene
nothing after the credits.
even?
No.
Really? Wow. Anyway, so
I was watching it live online, and yeah, it just went straight into Helsing, which was the next show.
They're in Vegas. They do this nutty stuff on a way up high. They have tons of cameos, and then they go into the Heartland where the cameos, they don't dry up,
No.
but they're just not as aggressive as they were in the last two.
Mm.
I mean, there are some brilliant fucking cameos that we'll get to in a bit. But they go, first they're in Texas, and then they're working their way up to Kansas. And the NATO, of course, picks up all sorts of different things along the way.
Yeah.
Again, in true Sharknado tradition, they've confused a tornado with a hurricane.
Yeah. Well, no, a tornado is the twister. That's what you get in the Midwest, is a tornado. Hurricane is the big storm that comes off the coast on the East Coast.
Well, right, but the deal is with a tornado, it touches down, it might be on the ground for maybe a few minutes tops, and that's it.
Right.
A hurricane is something that picks up speed and moves thousands of miles across the country.
Right.
Traditionally, of course, over water. What Sharknado has done, and they've done this for all four movies, of course, where it is a tornado that acts like a hurricane that can even move across land for some reason.
Sharknado is a catchier name than Sharkicane, even though they did mention Sharkicanes in the last one.
But it's still just a tornado. It's not a hurricane, because a hurricane would be a storm that would go for hundreds of miles in diameter. This is still just a tornado, one cyclone, or not cyclone, one funnel cloud with sharks in it.
Right. And sand and oil and fire and lightning and hailstones and lava.
Well, I love the hail NATO. I mean, that's what they should have done in the last one. Right. But anyway, this one moves all the way from Vegas, visits my hometown of Chicago, which I wish they had stayed in longer.
Is Chicago today a thing?
Not really.
Okay.
None of those, that was kind of disappointing too, that they didn't have like real local guys,
Yeah.
Like the mayor is the brother of Ari on what's the Entourage.
Oh, okay.
Like the real life Ari, the agent that they were portraying. His brother is the mayor here. He's Rahm Emanuel. To just have this woman standing in as the mayor, here of Chicago is kind of like, huh? Okay. But anyway, it works on its way all the way up to Toronto and Niagara Falls. And you could say hilarity ensues.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Now, the beginning kind of reminded me of Iron Sky. It's got that black and white footage on the moon because, Gil was left on the moon.
Yeah.
And it's just a voiceover exposition. Although, just telling us that Gil was rescued, kind of disappointing. I would have liked to have seen a bit of the rescue.
Of course. Yeah, I don't understand why they wouldn't have done something like that.
Yeah.
And then do the Las Vegas scene. Because, I mean, if this movie had kept the momentum up that they had in Vegas, this would have been right up there with the other two.
Yeah, I think the beginning was a bit messy, but yeah. It was a little too much, I think. Speaking of the beginning, Carrot Top was a bit of an unfortunate surprise, though I was glad that they killed him.
Well, yeah, all the cameos got killed, pretty much, just about.
Well, that's true. They all did die.
The ones in Vegas, at least.
Yeah, at the beginning. I forgot about that.
Vince Neil, and I mean, it was the Vegas cameos were what we're accustomed to in a Sharknado movie.
This movie once again shows that nobody wants to play with Vince Neil.
Now, in the middle section, the only two cameos that are really worth noting of course, you've got Steve Guttenberg.
Yes, great to see him in a Sharknado movie. Apparently, he's the lead in the Lantula series.
Right, and I think that's what they were advertising for there.
Right.
And then, of course, the other one, Gilbert Gottfried.
No, of course, yeah. I was assuming you were going for him. Yeah.
Have we seen him in a movie for Zombie Takeout?
We had to have. I can't think of anything offhand, but we had to have covered a movie he was in.
I can't think of another Zombie Takeout movie where we've had the great Gilbert Gottfried as a part of this.
Now, they also brought back the Today Show chorus, which was great.
Yes, I love that the Today Show Greek chorus lives on, and Gilbert Gottfried on the fucking Today Show would be amazing.
Yes. He's basically the traffic reporter who gets roped into reporting about the NATOs.
Well, they sent him as a storm chaser.
Yeah.
The problem, though, is there's no real end to his character.
Mm-hmm. He has his line that you see in the trailer, the cow NATO, and then you don't see him again.
He just disappears.
Yeah.
There's no, they don't get eaten by a shark or anything. They don't get tossed by the tornado.
That's the overall problem with this movie. They forgot how to pace comedy.
Yeah.
And how to tie things up. I also thought that Wayne Newton singing the Sharknado theme, not the proper movie theme, because that would have been awesome.
Right.
But in the Vegas scene, you have him in a lounge singing the Sharknado theme. A bit too self-referential.
I loved
it. Was almost a look what we can do.
I loved every bit of the Vegas scene, so
okay.
I would not change a damn thing about
Even
that.
the Xfinity X1 ad?
Yes. And the fact that I was using Xfinity to... I started watching it on my regular TV. Mrs. Scotto was very bored with the whole experience. I was like, I think I'll finish watching this downstairs. And was able to switch it onto my computer and watch it from there. Mm-hmm. Only because I have the Xfinity X1.
Now, there were some really great moments. There are these Chippendales dancers and these guys in guinea tees, basically looked like they were brawlers or something.
Oh, what the hell? When they see the Sharknado, they're taking their shirts off
and they just attack and they just punch the sharks out. But you have one of the dancers pelvic thrust a shark away.
That was brilliant.
Which is why my sponsor happened. And I did like the "Don't get cocky" line.
I think they have now worked in every line of dialogue from the Star Wars films.
Probably. And half of them were in this movie.
They were. There were a lot of them.
Sky surfing in the car was great.
Stay on target.
He actually sky surfs in a car using the doors as sails.
Right.
And the Sharkberg right ahead. Of course, they had to go for the Titanic.
Oh my God. Sailing like the pirate ship casino.
Through Vegas.
using the wheel. I tell you, they really had something brilliant with the Vegas section of this movie.
Yeah. Talking about it, I'm liking it more than I did watching it. I think that's a part of the movie that I'm going to have to see again to really fully appreciate.
Now, the middle section, however...
See, for me, the middle section was the strongest.
Well, here's my problem. One of my first problem with it. Tommy Davidson just doesn't fit.
He had some good moments, but overall, they could have cast someone better in the role, yeah.
Think of the people they're using in the other roles, 90210 guys. Right. They got Busey in, which, that's
Busey as a mad scientist is perfect casting.
It is just fucking brilliant. One of my titles was I'm with Mad Scientist.
and Busey and Tara Reid squaring off, it was like a bad acting duel.
Busey and Tara Reid as father and daughter. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But Tommy Davidson is one of these is not like the other.
He did have some good moments, though.
If they'd gotten Richard Roundtree in...
Yes, you're absolutely right about him, yes.
Somebody who's...
Sam Jackson.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Sam Jackson. I was thinking maybe, Carl Weathers. I don't know if he's still with us.
Well, I'm not sure. Richard Roundtree, though, definitely would have been the better choice.
But, somebody who's done, the over-the-top acting, Yeah, I'm sure another name will come up that that could have taken this role
Right.
and done more with it. But putting a comedian in there is kind of going against the joke.
A little bit, yeah, you're right.
Another one, oh my god, now I think about it, and this guy's actually a halfway decent actor, if not a good actor, but it would just been funny to have had him.
Mm.
Andrew Dice Clay.
Yes. I did like that Finn settled in Kansas, as far away from water as possible.
But it's Tornado Central. It's
yeah, but no sharks.
You know. The best part of the middle section, of course, is Kansas, and all the Wizard of Oz jokes that are beaten over the.
Although I did appreciate that they were going to blow up they actually did blow up the Grand Canyon.
The only thing missing from the Kansas section was some Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon.
Really?
If they could have paid for some of that in the soundtrack, I think it would have been complete. And
I did like, while it lasted, April's Bionic Woman subplot.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's, something that we'll see in the next one, if there is a next one. And I'm assuming there's going to be another one.
Yeah, for the first half of the movie, she is assumed dead by Finn and the rest of the family. And her father has her at his lab, and he's basically made her bionic so he could save her from, having a piece of the space shuttle land on her at the end of the last movie.
The Swiss Army arm.
A saw, a lightsaber. What was the other one?
And did you notice the Kylo Ren chainsaw?
Yes. Now, I was disappointed by one cameo. There is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference. They go into this shop to buy chainsaws, and you see, what's his name?
Dog.
Well, you see Dog the Bounty Hunter, but you also see Dan Yeager, who played Leatherface, and Caroline Williams, who played Stretch in the Chainsaw movies.
Right.
And they really go on for the full reference for anybody who recognizes them. Yeah. And you also see Dan Larroquette sitting in a wheelchair.
Really?
And he just sits there. Huh. And he's not credited, but I'm reasonably sure it's him because it looks like him, and he was the narrator on the 2003 version of Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice.
So I'm pretty sure that was Larroquette. It would have been great to see him act, of course.
The second part of where I think this really which disappointed me was Gil.
The younger or older?
The young.
Yes.
Yeah, Gil is the youngest child of the family.
He's the son that was born at the end of 3.
Right.
Named after Hoff's character, which is why I had to ask which one.
So,
I was going to say, you're disappointed about Hoff? No. The kid definitely was a bit disappointing. Was in too much of the movie.
Too big a role.
Yeah.
Much too big a role. I thought it would have been wise if they had thinned out the shepherd herd a bit.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed that they did not.
I have a bit of a bone to pick with who they chose to kill. Because aside from the cameos at the beginning, the only named characters who died were the 3 black characters.
Oh, yeah.
All of the shepherds survived. All of the other named main characters survived. They killed Aston, Tommy Davidson's character.
Yeah.
Although he could come back, because he was wearing the squirrel suit.
Yeah, it's true.
They killed Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Matt's wife. For no reason, because I figured they were going for some emotional arc with Matt. He didn't even react to it.
Right.
I don't even think he acknowledged it.
I don't think so either.
And they also killed the mayor of Chicago.
The joke of that, of course, was she had the ruby red slippers.
Yeah, they went with the
socks.
whole Wizard of Oz thing. And
complete the Wizard of Oz joke. Yeah.
And she kept going off about how it was all Finn's fault, so you kind of wanted to see her die. So I had no problem with that. But killing Gabrielle was completely pointless.
Like, how a person could create a Sharknado on their own is just, I don't know.
And that whole middle section just kind of felt weird, because I'm accustomed to Sharknado movies being in cities.
Right.
In contained areas like the amusement park. Spreading it out throughout the Midwest was a little weird.
Yeah.
Davidson did have one good line. He's walking through his building with a couple of his underlings talking about how they're going to destroy the Sharknadoes. He walks through a door, an alarm goes off. He says, "Really? I own the company."
Right, they're asking him to step over to, like, get searched.
Yeah.
He's like, I own the building.
That was it. I own the building.
Yeah.
I think I liked the Paul Schaefer cameo.
Oh, of course. I can't leave my equipment, man.
Yeah. I don't know. It seemed a little on the nose. I'm not sure why.
What's Paul Schaefer doing in the middle of Kansas?
Well, fair point.
I mean, how many street musicians are there in, like, whatever town with the world's largest ball of twine?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, when that went rolling after them, I of course had to flash back to the Statue of Liberty's head.
Yes. What did they have on them, the sharks?
Those were boulders. I think the boulders from the Boulder-nado got implanted in them.
So it was sharks with boulder spikes.
Yeah, they were studded sharks, which was awesome.
That was just really weird.
It just adds that extra level of, what the fuck danger.
What the fuck, yeah.
Now, they did a nice job of aging Claudia, the daughter. That's the same actress as the last movie.
Oh, okay.
I actually had to look it up because she looked vaguely familiar, but I wasn't sure. She actually did look quite a bit older.
See, a lot of the cameos were really just family members.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, Busey has, like, his daughter in here. Hasselhoff's daughter's in there. I didn't even know Susan Anton still did things.
Okay, I didn't recognize her.
Yeah, I know, me either.
Oh, no, you're talking about Finn's mother?
I think so. There's also
that was Cheryl Tiegs.
There was Cheryl Tiegs,
who I didn't recognize. I think Susan Anton was in the casino.
Okay.
I just realized, she was in the casino.
Cheryl Tiegs is Ray Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of the cameos just weren't as. I mean, the Baywatch stuff was nice.
Yeah. They had to do that.
Where they're talking about no lifeguards on duty and stuff. Why is that? And then they still have them running in slow motion.
Mm-hmm. Just to roll back a bit, you mentioned the house falling on the mayor.
Yeah.
It falls on the mayor after Finn, his son, and Gemini are holding onto it while it's flying through the Sharknado. Or whatever NATO at that point. And Finn is literally holding on to the kitchen sink. I would have preferred it, I have to say, instead of killing Gabriel, if they killed Gemini and just had Nova suddenly show up.
Right. I don't understand why they couldn't get Nova.
I'm assuming Cassie Skirbo either wasn't available or chose not to do it. She's probably going to be in the next one, so it was probably an availability issue. And they just wanted a Nova-like character in there, so they created Gemini. Now, of course, the sand, shark, boulder, oil, fire, lightning NATO has to, take that next step up and become a nuclear NATO. Because when it's a lightning NATO, it hits a couple of nuclear reactors. And this is where April's father really gets involved, because he has these devices that can apparently contain it or can move water onto it to cool it down.
Reversing the flow of Niagara Falls.
Mm-hmm. Reversing the polarity.
Yeah.
For the Doctor Who fans. Of course, this means Hoff has to get back into the suit that he wore at the beginning. Apparently, he's a test pilot for these exoskeleton things now. And I was really surprised to see him get eaten. He just suddenly gets eaten as he's about to save the day, which was a very nice surprise.
Yes.
And then everybody else gets eaten, one by one.
And then just the whole shark eating a shark, eating another shark.
Eventually a whale. That kind of didn't work for me. I don't know why.
I don't know why. It was just kind of okay.
Yeah. And then we have a moment that I'm really not sure about.
The little kid saving the day?
Yeah. Okay, so we have little Gil seeing this whale land after swallowing a shark that swallowed a shark and so on down the line. And so everybody is inside of this whale in different sharks. And he says something along the lines of, "I'll save you, Daddy." He pulls a toy chainsaw out of a toy stone and cuts into the whale. And I think does he find Finn?
He of course keeps
no, he saved it was Gil, it was Hoff.
uncovering different members of the family.
Well, no, he only did the one. I think he saved Gil, and then April got involved, and she cut everybody else out.
I thought he had done them all. No.
No, I know April got involved to save at least Finn because she had the lightsaber.
Yeah.
April has a lightsaber now.
That's right.
I did like the shark defibrillator. She's half bionic now, so she pulled out a couple of wires, connected them to some small sharks, and used them as a defibrillator on Finn.
But they'd already given Gil too much to do in this movie as it is, and then to have him coming in at the end just was...
To save everybody, yeah. Because, I mean, for most of it, he was just, the damsel in distress, so to speak. He was he upped the ante.
Wandering off into trouble.
Right.
It was more annoying than anything else.
But it was reasonable for a kid. And then he suddenly has this weird-ass King Arthur reference.
Right. Getting ready to pass the baton to the next generation. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially since they're not going to wait 20 years or for the next one. It's going to be straight into the next one. Because, as we mentioned, as they're laying there, having just escaped from the whale, the Eiffel Tower comes flying in. Lands, at a safe distance from them, and Finn looks at it and says, Nova? Fade to black, or cut to black, abruptly.
And I can't believe they didn't do anything with the credits or have a scene afterwards.
Well, what would they have done, though? Because there was no running gag like the I almost said shawarma, the pizza from the second one. That's the only one that had an ending thing, or had a post-credit scene, I think. The last one didn't have a post-credit scene, did it?
Really?
I don't think 3 had a post-credit scene.
I think they just did the vote for, whether she's alive or not.
Yeah, they did the vote for April.
Yeah.
And to that end, they really shouldn't have revealed that she was alive before the movie. It would have been a nice surprise.
It would have been.
Yeah. And they also said that the bionics that are keeping her alive are temporary. So, of course, she survived, but then she's going to die. Unless they find a way to fix it. Because she's still alive at the end of this movie, so they might fix it in the next one.
Do we believe anybody's going to die? Come on.
That's a fair point, yeah. Yeah, her father, was it Wally Wexler, her father? Busey's character, is going to find a way to prolong it, I'm sure.
Unless you're an actor who happens to have a different, pigment to their skin tone.
Yeah.
You're going to live.
Uh-huh. On to sequels and remakes.
Whatever could they do for a sequel?
I actually have in my notes, 5 hasn't been confirmed yet, but of course it will happen. I think 5 has been confirmed by the end of the movie.
It's about time they take this show to Europe. And
there was a marathon on today, of course, before the movie.
Yeah.
And I caught a bit of the end of the first one. And I realized that Baz, the Australian guy, didn't actually die on camera.
Really?
He had a shark on his leg, and he was pulled away into the Sharknado, and that's the last we saw of him. I suspect they're going to go to Australia in one of them, and he's going to be alive.
Oh, that would be good.
On to brains?
On to brains.
You improved my opinion of the beginning a bit. So I'm going to be generous and go 4.5.
I'm sticking with a 4. I like this a bit better than the first one because they hadn't quite.
Yeah, the first one they didn't quite know what they had.
Right. They were still just doing any other asylum film in the first one.
Yeah.
But this just isn't at the same level as the last 2, which were just batshit crazy.
Right. Yeah.
And cameos aplenty. This one. Just like, well, what else can we put in a NATO?
It kind of felt like the one too many. I hate to say that about a Sharknado movie, but the next one is going to be Paycheck NATO, I think.
You knew they were going to, run out of steam eventually. They couldn't possibly keep... Well, It was amazing that the last one was as good as it was. After what they did for the second one.
True. I went into the last one expecting the one too many and was very surprised.
Right.
I think that was the problem, is because the last one wasn't the one too many, I went into this one expecting it to be 2 and 3. And it was the one too many.
But, I mean, the problem here is they need to thin out the shepherd herd.
Oh, yes, that too.
There's too many goddamn shepherds now. And...
Cut to too many cooks.
Right. It's just like that. And then the cameos and just, they're kids instead of actual celebrities. It just, so.
I think that's why it works in a city. Because they can get away with the cameos. If it was all set in Vegas, it would have been the Sharknado we know and love.
Well, I mean, they even did a couple of different cities in the last two.
Yeah.
The theme.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they went to Orlando, but it was all set in the theme park. It wasn't Orlando as a whole.
Like if they had just done Vegas and Chicago or Vegas and Toronto, but putting Paul Schaefer in the middle of some town in Kansas, just okay.
All right, so what have we learned?
We learned that Dog's Chainsaw Store just doesn't cut it.
And I learned the importance of pacing in comedy. Now, if only Anthony Ferrante and Thunder 11 can learn that. All right, so in about a week and a half, this is coming out on a Monday. We're taking the rest of this week off. We'll be back the following week as scheduled with Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death. This is basically Bill Maher's Collision Course. This is the movie he doesn't want you to see. Until then, go to zombietakeout.com, check out the album art, the episode description, of course the episode itself, which you're already listening to. Links to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube. Links to subscribe via RSS and iTunes. Please leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you enjoy the show, spread the word. Give us a little word of mouth. Of course, we appreciate all of the listeners we have, but more would be better. You'll also find the movie list, every movie we've reviewed so far, and every movie we're going to review, up through 304, 305, Just to Kill is the placeholder, as we keep saying. Just 5 more weeks until we announce episode 300.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're getting there, huh?
So early September we'll be dropping that.
Yeah.
You'll also find the request form. If you've got a movie you'd like to hear us review, please leave it on the request form, and of course the recommendations list. It's a Sharknado movie, of course it had to make the rec list.
This was close to missing it, I think,
Yeah.
The first one's not on there.
That's true, yeah. All because they didn't know what they had.
Yeah.
I think just because 2 and 3 were so good, it makes it that much more of a letdown.
Yeah.
Of course, you can email us zombietakeout@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 414-368-CTL1 or for the alphanumerically challenged.
You can go tornado yourself.
414-368-9861. Of course, always remember that you'll always be calling from the middle of Milwaukee. That should have been in this movie, especially with Dan Larroquette's appearance.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, until next time, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
There you are.
May the force be with you.
Did you know that the same pelvic thrust that's been driving you insane for decades